What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today I've decided that I'll be doing a story time. So this dates back to, I believe, like, I want to say when I was 25, thereabout. I had to have been like 24, 25 in my 20s. I'm 30 now, by the way. 30, 30. But yeah, this is a story time, guys. This is a story time. So this kicks off, like I said, I was about 25. I've mostly lived alone. So I was at my house in a really rural, crime-ridden community called, um, what was it called? Crawford Street. How could I even forget that? Crawford Street. Like when I lived there, like whenever I took a taxi, the taxi wouldn't want to go down that street. Like the taxi would want to leave me at the top of the road, like, okay, this is as far as I go. Or sometimes you'll have passengers who will get out, like, driver, I if you're gonna go down that lane, then you can leave me here. Maybe you could pick me up when you get out. Like it was that type of dangerous. Like every week somebody would die and they would like kill each other, like people in the community that they grew up with. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. So I ended up somehow having to live there for whatever the reason was at the time. And so I was there for maybe, I want to say at the time, I'd been there for 2 to 3 months, if I'm remembering correctly. And um, it was my day off. Believe it was a Saturday. And in Jamaica, we sometimes burn our garbage. So I was kind of outside putting my garbage together. Together. I was outside putting my garbage together to get it burnt. So I was there and I piled up everything, getting my lighter. Everything's all good. Then I get a call from my ex at the time to look up a news about somebody in our community that was murdered. And even though I couldn't recall the person by the name, I was saddened by the news. And so I was looking at the article that was sent to me. So I was a little distracted, and I didn't feel like I'm cracking my knuckles. I didn't feel like much attention is needed when you're at home and chilling. So I kind of sat down on the back step. It's kind of, I mean, that's a thing we do back home in Jamaica. It's always hot. Doors are always open, not mine, but you know. So I was like, all right, I'm always cooped up in the house for obvious reasons. Like, I don't trust anyone and I'm paranoid. And within reason. Because then I sat there on the stoop reading through the article to see if I recognized the name or if I could see a picture of the person. Because my ex just wanted to know if I knew who that was. And I doubt it. Because, like, I didn't, like, when I used to live there, I didn't used to talk to a lot of people because of my mom and because I don't really want to. People hated me because I thought that I was better than them, except they just, anyways, that's not what we're talking about. Back on track. So I sat there and I was reading through the article, and then I'm very mindful of my environment. I'm always like looking over my shoulder and paying attention, right? So I wasn't completely, there is a dust particle that just passed by the lens and I saw it. Anyways, so I'm sitting there and I saw like a shadow coming from the gate. So, okay, I'm sitting on the back step, which means the gate is in the opposite direction um, to my left, right? and so I can see the shadow of anybody that's coming to the gate. So I saw the smaller person come through the gate, kind of looming and lurking. But it's a yard where a lot of kids play because there's a bunch of kids next door. My neighbor had a bunch of kids, but this person wasn't playing. This person was like looming, and I'm like, okay then. So based on the height of the shadow, I assumed it was a kid. So I didn't pay much attention until the looming continued. So I'm like, okay. I stood up. I went to man the fire, which was lit by this point. It was lit. Anyways, no, lit is a thing. Um, so yeah, I manned the fire and then I spun around. I had a dress on, but it was a long dress. And it was like pulled up over my boobs, and then I was bent over manning the fire. Nothing is exposed because it's a long dress. So, anyways, I got up and I noticed that it was a kid, the same, well, based on the shadow, the same kid that was looming. So I'm like, "Are you from next door?" And he's like, he nervously like spun around and like walked away. I'm like, "Are you from next door? Like, do you live next door?" He's like, "No," because I was wondering, like, okay, is the smoke bothering you? Like, why are you looming? But then he quickly walked away and I kind of brushed it off. I kind of shrugged it off because I'm like, all right, I don't know what's wrong with this kid, but he's probably just curious because I'm always cooped up in the house. Maybe he just wants to know like who lives there and what I look like because I'm always inside. If I'm not inside, I'm like headed out the door to go to work or something. So I was like, all right, cool. Sat back down, going through the rest of the article. Turns out I didn't know the person, but I was already in the middle of reading it. So I'm like, all right, what the hell? Then I saw again the shadow looming. So I'm like, all right, this time, like, the corner of the house is like, yay, away from me. So I can see the shadow on the pavement right next to me of him standing there. And it's like a step up and then turn the corner to get to me. And I'm sitting right on a step. So then I'm reading the article, and I noticed that the looming has gotten closer, like the shadow is right up next to me. So I'm looking now to see if he's gonna come around the corner or what. Boom, he comes around the corner, and I'm in total shock. I'm still like with the phone like this, and I'm like literally, I was frozen. I was frozen. He had a t-shirt tied around his face, and then he was trying to modify his voice like, yo, yo, get up and go into the house. No, get up and go into the house. So I'm like, I was still looking at him like, what do you mean, get up and go inside? Yo, get up and go inside before me kill you. So I'm like, kill me? I was literally like, it's like I couldn't understand what was happening. But at the same time, I was like assessing him, like his size, the knife he was pointing toward my face and neck, and I suppose I didn't move within his timing. So then he literally launched toward my neck. And so I grabbed the fucking knife because I'm like, you not finna stab me in the neck. So I grabbed the knife and I held on, and he kept like pressing it toward my neck. And I kept like holding it because I'm like, you not finna stab me in the neck. So he kept pressing it. I kept holding it. Oh yeah, one. I started off with one hand and ended up with two hands because he was like, I was sitting down, so he had his body weight pushing me down onto the floor because I'm in a sitting position. So I managed to get up and I was holding the knife. And so I got up so fast and he was still pushing because he's standing. So obviously he's more grounded. So I fell backward with the knife, and he still came over me and was still trying to stab me in the neck. So I guess because he couldn't get what he wanted, he was like, all right, well, I can't leave you alive because, like, now you know what my attempt was. And so he was still trying to stab me in the neck. He wasn't being successful because I decided, like, I'm going to lose all 10 fingers before I let you stab me in the neck just like that. Like I could still show you. Anyways, if I can find pictures, I'll throw up some pictures. Most of the cuts were like within my palm, and then there was this one that I'm sure came outside. I can't find it right now, but oh, here it is. Like right here, like it barely came onto my outside skin. So I guess because it was my palm, it didn't leave any scars and it kind of just healed and disappeared. But yeah, he let the knife go and ran off. I guess because he realized he couldn't overpower me. And like I called my friend because she was the one that recommended the apartment to me, and she knew like the thugs in the area, so like it was a whole scene. Like my yard was full of thugs, like investigating, trying to find out who did this shit. Cause like it's like in prison, like rapists are unacceptable. Maybe a thief, a gunman, a murderer, but not a rapist. So everybody was trying to find out like who was this man that tried to rape you. And I'm like, honestly, I don't know that this was a man, based on the height and based on the fact that I realized that he was like trying to his voice. I'm like, all right, bet this is probably not an adult. So I kept describing everything I could remember. And it was brought to my attention that I never screamed because I shared the house. Half of the house belonged to somebody else, rented by somebody else. And she's like, I didn't hear you scream or anything. I'm like, yeah, I guess I realized that day that I don't scream in like scary situations. I kind of just use my energy to assess how to get out of it rather than scream my head off and maybe get stabbed. Anyways, they finally found out who it was. And my throat is dry. Water. So they finally found who it was, and this information was based on the knife. So my nosy neighbor had this brilliant idea to use the knife to find out who it was, which I was like, who is going to claim the knife if they tried something like that? Like, who is going to claim the knife? But based on the description, they're like, this person is a kid, and this kid has a parent. So we're going to take the knife, wash the blood off, take the knife to the parent, and ask them just like, are you missing a knife? Do you know this knife? His dad was like, yeah, that's my knife. I sharpened that knife on Sunday. Like, that's my knife. So apparently, that was his son, a 13-year-old boy. Yeah, that's right. A 13-year-old boy tried to rape me. Okay? He apparently was trying to have me go back inside the house so he can rape me. I laugh now, but like, what was this kid thinking? Like, first of all, you know what kind of community you live in. You know the danger you're in if you do shit like that. Like, that people get killed for less in your community, and you tried that shit. Anyways, there was a huge commotion. They brought the parent over, and the parent had to bring the kid with him. And they were like, so what you about to do? Because if you don't do nothing, we about to do something. Like, if you don't take care of his discipline, we about to RIP him. So yeah, I don't condone violence, but they beat the shit out of him. like they beat the living shit out of him because it's what basically it was either that or they were gonna, you feel me? So yeah, they beat the living daylights out of him. Apparently he was mad about it, like talking about he's gonna murder his dad. Like you was right. Like you was right to try to rape an adult. Not that it would be okay to rape anyone, but come on, like look at my size. Like what made you think you could take me though? Like what made you think that you could really maneuver me? I mean, he was a thick 13-year-old, but a 13-year-old nevertheless. Like, come on. I'm a big, okay? Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. Yeah, long story short was that pretty much was the end of that. I ended up making a police report. The dad brought me to the doctor, and I could even go further into the story because it doesn't, that's kind of just be keep it sticking to the details. Sticking to the details and the surface information. But yeah, that was horrific. Like in the grand scheme of things, when I think about it, like I could have died that day. Not even the rape would be as had I can't even talk now. Yeah, that was horrific. I was terrified, and to think that I could have lost my life that day for some stupid 13-year-old's wet dream or whatever his, I don't know, like it appeared that the motive was rape because they asked him and to like steal shit. And I'm like, I was holding my phone. You could have grabbed that phone and left. You could have grabbed that phone and pieced off. Like I probably would have been like so frozen, too frozen to catch you. So you you played yourself, boy. And I really hope that he's probably getting the help that he needs not to try something like that because it could really end bad for him and you don't want to enter into a life of crime so goddamn early. But yeah, I feel like this is a nice survive, but I dare not put myself in that category. Um and maybe I'm thinking of it too mild, who knows. But yeah, I'm here to tell the tale. And that's the story time of how a 13-year-old boy tried to rape me. So yeah, this is my first hand at making story times, my first try. Oh, and with a full face of makeup, I tried to dibble and dabble into some colors that I've never really dabbled in before. I'm really afraid to use colors like green or purple, so I was really light-handed, and I feel like I look crazy. Like I feel like all those shades that I never touch in my palettes are clown colors. But hey, I dibble and dabble in makeup. I'm no guru by any standard, but I can do my thing. I can do my thing. Anyways, guys, until next time with another video. Peace.